You won't believe this. One small, seemingly insignificant scribble, no larger than a single stroke of ink, altered the course of an entire kingdom, rewriting its destiny forever. Stick around, because this is a story worth sharing. The story of the scribble that transformed history. Get comfortable, because this one is way too good to miss. The date? April 1713. The setting? The majestic court of Savoy, nestled in what we now know as Italy. And at its center, Victor Amadeus II, Duke of Savoy, a man grappling with a decision that could either save or doom his realm. Europe was ablaze with tensions, battles, and diplomatic intrigue as the War of Spanish Succession approached its end. Nations negotiated peace, but borders, they were still blurry, contentious, and up for grabs. A single treaty could decide Victor Amadeus's fate. Should Savoy continue to ally with its strong neighbor, France, or shift to England's side, gaining security but risking isolation on the battlefield? Frustrated, exhausted, and likely overwhelmed by the weight of potential consequences, Victor's pen hesitated as he studied the parchment that could reshape the political map of Europe. Here's where the astonishing scribble comes in. Historians examined Victor's discarded drafts and found something extraordinary. A small alteration, barely visible amidst crossed-out lines and ink blotches. This wasn't just any scribble. Hidden within it was the rejection of ongoing French dominance in favor of territorial expansion, not to mention a subtle alignment with England and the Holy Roman Empire. That tiny ink trail made unspoken commitments and shaped 2 centuries of European history. What makes this scribble more fascinating is what came afterward. That small mark tore Victor's alliance with France, catapulting Savoy into negotiations with England and Austria. And guess what? It worked. In 1718, Victor received Sardinia, granting him a title upgrade from Duke to King of Sardinia, setting his dynasty on a new trajectory that would eventually contribute to the unification of Italy. Talk about an incremental revolution. But let's zoom out for a second. Why did such an insignificant act, accidental looking even, carry so much weight? The answer lies in the art of negotiation. Victor's scribble wasn't just an afterthought. It was a deliberate gamble, recorded on paper and anchored in Europe's finely tuned political theatre of the time. Written words, even as small as a sentence fragment or a veiled clause, held extraordinary diplomatic power, shaping deals and alliances far beyond their visible surface meanings. And it wasn't without risk. Penning alliances is like playing a high-stakes poker game. You reveal just enough to tempt your opponent to fold without overcommitting yourself. Had England or Austria interpreted the scribble differently, or had France found out earlier, it could have ended Victor's tenuous hold on his influence. A slight miscalculation would have left Savoy politically isolated and potentially preyed upon by both friends and foes. We now know that Scribble marked a turning point. Its implications would ripple across Europe, beyond Victor's lifetime even. It said the paper on which that treaty rejection and subsequent agreements took place is preserved in fragments in various archives scattered across Europe. Rumors swirl about whether newer historians might find other details, maybe more scratched-out scribbles with untold secrets that could reframe our understanding of Victor's savvy leadership. Beyond the dusty desks of academia, this story has a surprising modern-day takeaway. Ever heard of the butterfly effect? A scribble, a tiny input in an overwhelmingly complex system, sparked enormous, cascading changes. That's history, isn't it? Seemingly small events accumulating monumental impacts, just as a single spark can set a forest ablaze. So, what lessons do we get from this playful twist of fate? Maybe it's this: never underestimate the power of a single action or the agency you might have, no matter how small you feel. In 1713, one man's gamble changed the destiny of millions, and it started right there. With pen in hand, scribbling the ink that would mold a future few could foresee. Victor Amadeus didn't have Twitter, TikTok, or viral memes to inspire global change, but he did have the courage to make a mark, literally and metaphorically. And sometimes that's all history needs: a brushstroke that stirs nations, a thought that defies conformity, a scribble that shakes the heavens. So next time you pick up a pen to jot down an idea, spare a thought for Victor Amadeus II. Who knows? Maybe that fleeting inspiration you're about to write could be the next tiny spark that reshapes the future. After all, history has taught us one thing: it's not always the grand gestures, but the small acts, the unassuming scribbles that leave the deepest marks. Now tell me, do you see history differently now? Because I know I do.